The massive chamber buzzed with alien chatter as representatives from countless star systems gathered. Humans stood at the far end of the grand hall, a small delegation that looked almost insignificant compared to the towering exotic alien forms surrounding them. Captain J. Park wore a crisp Navy uniform that seemed almost plain against the shimmering, bioluminescent robes of other diplomats. His eyes remained calm, scanning the room with a quiet confidence that contrasted sharply with the loud mockery echoing around him. The Galactic Council had never expected much from humans. Earth was a young planet, barely decades into serious space exploration. Most alien races saw humans as primitive, loud, and technologically naive. They whispered and laughed, their translator devices converting their alien languages into a unified communication stream that filled the chamber with ridicule. A crystalline being from the Krell delegation approached the human representatives. Its body shifted and sparkled, reflecting light in complex patterns that seemed to mock human simplicity. "Your species thinks it can join the Galactic Council?" the creature said, its voice a series of musical clicks and vibrations. "You have barely mastered fusion technology. We have been exploring space for thousands of generations." Hai Kim, the ship's navigator, stood beside Captain Park. She was young, probably in her early 30s, but her eyes held a depth that made the alien representatives uncomfortable. She understood something they did not. Humanity's potential was not in its current technology, but in its ability to adapt and learn at an unprecedented rate. The chamber was circular, with raised platforms for different alien delegations. Holographic displays showed star maps, technological achievements, and diplomatic records. Humans were a tiny dot on these massive displays, almost invisible compared to the vast networks of established civilizations. "We request equal consideration," Captain Park said simply. His voice was steady without anger or desperation. It was a statement, not a plea. More laughter erupted. The silicon-based Zorn delegation shifted their crystalline forms, creating intricate patterns that translated to sounds of pure mockery. Their representative stepped forward, its body looking like a complex geometric sculpture made of translucent material. "Humans," the Zorn representative said, "have nothing to offer. Your weapons are primitive. Your space exploration is limited to a few solar systems. Your technological understanding is centuries behind most council members." Wu Choi, the chief engineer, adjusted his communication device. Unlike the other humans, he seemed more interested in the technological displays around the chamber. His fingers moved quickly, capturing data, analyzing system configurations that other delegates wouldn't even notice. The human delegation was small, just 5 individuals representing an entire planet. They looked almost vulnerable, surrounded by beings that had mastered interstellar travel millennia ago. But there was something in their posture, a quiet confidence that seemed out of place. Captain Park stepped forward. "We understand we are new," he said, "but we are here to learn, to grow, and to contribute." More laughter, more dismissal. What the alien races didn't realize was that every moment, every dismissive comment, every bout of laughter was being carefully observed and analyzed. Humanity's greatest strength had always been its ability to learn, to adapt, to turn challenges into opportunities. The meeting continued, a symphony of alien languages and human resilience. Each insult, each mockery was another piece of data for the human delegation. They weren't just listening. They were studying, understanding, preparing. As the chamber continued to buzz with alien discussions, nobody noticed the small device Hai Kim was subtly calibrating. Nobody saw the complex algorithms Wu Choi was developing in real time. Nobody understood the quiet revolution happening right before their eyes. The first ship disappeared on a quiet Tuesday. No alarms, no distress signals, just complete silence, where the USS Horizon had been moments before. Space traffic controllers blinked in confusion. Captain Sung Lee's vessel had been tracking a routine mapping mission near the Orion sector. One moment its quantum signature was clear, the next, nothing. Initial reports suggested equipment malfunction. The galactic communication network buzzed with speculation. but most delegates dismissed it as another human error. They didn't understand how wrong they were. Days passed. More human exploration vessels vanished. Not destroyed, not damaged, simply gone. Monitoring stations recorded strange quantum fluctuations milliseconds before each disappearance. Exotic particles danced around the vanishing points, leaving behind nothing but electromagnetic whispers and confused sensor readings. The alien scientific community began to take notice. The Krell researchers first detected a pattern. Each vanished. Ship had been equipped with a specific quantum communication array developed by human engineers. Something was happening, but nobody could explain what. Hai Kim, back on Earth, studied the data obsessively. Her fingers moved across holographic displays, tracing invisible lines between disappearance coordinates. There was a logic here, a pattern, waiting to be understood. Wu Choi's research team worked in a secure underground facility. They knew something others didn't. The disappearances weren't accidents. They were part of a carefully orchestrated plan. Deep in classified laboratories, complex algorithms processed massive amounts of data. Each vanished ship carried advanced recording devices, collecting information even as they transformed. Humanity was conducting an experiment on a galactic scale, and no one realized it. Alien diplomatic channels started to worry. 5 ships. Then 10, then 20 human vessels simply erased from tracking systems. No debris, no wreckage, just empty space where starships once existed. The Zorn delegation demanded explanations. The human diplomatic team remained calm, offering limited information and maintaining a mysterious silence that infuriated their alien counterparts. "We are investigating," was all Captain J. Park would say during emergency council meetings. His calm demeanor suggested they knew exactly what was happening, but chose not to reveal anything. Quantum physicists from multiple civilizations began analyzing the disappearance zones. They discovered microscopic changes in space-time fabric, subtle shifts that suggested something extraordinary was occurring. Each vanished ship carried advanced quantum reconfiguration technology. What looked like a disappearance was actually something far more complex, a transformation beyond current scientific understanding. Space itself seemed to bend around these vanishing points. Gravitational sensors detected minute changes, invisible to most monitoring systems. Something was happening, something that would change everything. The human ships weren't being destroyed. They were becoming something else entirely. Alien races started to feel a growing sense of unease. The initial mockery of human technological capabilities was being replaced by a creeping fear. What if these disappearances were intentional? What if humans were doing something no one could comprehend? In secure research facilities across Earth, engineers and scientists worked around the clock. They understood the grand design, a plan so audacious it would redefine interstellar exploration. "Captain, Sung Lee's last recorded communication was cryptic. Transformation protocol initiated," he had said. "Stage 1 complete." No one outside the human engineering teams understood what that meant, but soon, very soon, the entire galaxy would find out. The vanishing protocol was more than a scientific experiment. It was a statement. Humanity was about to show the Galactic Council that they were not to be underestimated. Something was coming, and nothing would ever be the same again. The ships had disappeared, but they were far from gone. The world changed on a Tuesday afternoon when Wu Choi's research finally broke through. Quantum restructuring wasn't just a theory anymore. It was happening. Human ships were transforming at molecular levels, becoming something between technology and living organism. Each vanished vessel carried advanced nanonetworks that could literally reshape matter in real time. Chief Engineer Choi understood the breakthrough meant more than scientific achievement. It was a complete revolution in space exploration technology. Imagine a spaceship that could adapt, change, survive in any environment instantaneously. The first successful mutation happened near Jupiter's orbital research station. A standard exploration vessel suddenly shifted its entire molecular structure, becoming something that defied traditional understanding of spacecraft design. Sensors detected impossible configurations, matter bending, reshaping, creating new, computational pathways faster than any known technology could process. Alien monitoring stations picked up bizarre energy signatures. Where normal ships would show predictable electromagnetic patterns, these transformed human vessels generated complex quantum resonances that seemed to break fundamental physics rules. Captain J. Park watched the initial tests with calm precision. Each mutation was carefully documented, each transformation meticulously analyzed. What looked like random changes were actually carefully programmed evolutionary steps. The technology worked like advanced biological adaptation. Just as human bodies could develop resistance to diseases, these ships could restructure themselves against different space environments. Radiation, reconfigure, extreme gravity, adjust molecular density, asteroid field, become flexible and responsive. Kim's navigation algorithms played a crucial role. She had developed computational models that allowed ships to predict and prepare molecular transformations milliseconds before actual environmental challenges occurred. It was like giving spaceships a form of predictive intelligence. Alien scientific communities began noticing strange reports. Human exploration zones started showing unexplained technological anomalies. Sensor systems in nearby star systems detected quantum fluctuations that shouldn't be possible with current known science. The Krell delegation, once mockingly dismissive, now watched with growing concern. Their most advanced sensor technologies could barely track these transformed human vessels. It was like trying to catch smoke with a net. Each mutated ship carried massive data collection capabilities. They weren't just exploring space. They were learning, adapting, evolving with every second of existence. Quantum computers integrated directly into ship structures allowed for instantaneous computational processes that made traditional AI look primitive. Wu Choi's team had essentially created living technology, ships that could think, adapt, survive, and transform. They were no longer just machines, they were something entirely new. The first complete transformation test lasted 17 minutes. A standard exploration vessel turned from a rigid metal structure into a flexible, responsive entity that could change shape, absorb and redistribute energy, and navigate through impossible spatial conditions. What humans had created wasn't just a technological breakthrough. It was a complete reimagining of space exploration technology. Alien monitoring stations began recording these changes with increasing panic. These weren't just improved spaceships. These were intelligent, adaptive systems that could potentially reshape entire understanding of interstellar travel. The quantum restructuring technology meant human ships could now change molecular density, at will adapt to extreme environmental conditions, redirect energy through multiple computational pathways, self-repair and evolve during space missions, generate complex computational networks instantaneously. Captain Park's final report was simple. First stage complete. Technological mutation successful. The Galactic Council had no idea what was coming. Humanity had just changed the rules of space exploration forever. Something extraordinary was happening, and no one was prepared for what would come next. The infiltration began quietly, almost invisibly. Alien frontier outposts started experiencing strange system failures. First, it was small things, communication glitches, minor power fluctuations, unexplained sensor errors. Nobody realized these were carefully planned intrusions by transformed human vessels. Chai Kim's quantum navigation systems had become something far beyond traditional tracking methods. The mutated ships could slip through defensive networks like liquid mercury, leaving no trace, no signature, no warning. The Zorn delegation's most secure communication hub went dark first. One moment, its complex crystal-based network was operational. The next, complete silence. No alarms triggered, no emergency protocols activated. Just absolute technological shutdown. Wu Choi's engineering team had developed something revolutionary. These ships weren't just traveling through space. They were becoming information itself. They could penetrate any system, absorb its entire computational structure, and remake it from the inside. Captain J. Park watched the first wave of infiltration with calculated precision. Each successful breach was another step in a massive, galaxy-wide strategy that no alien civilization could comprehend. The transformed ships moved differently. They weren't bound by traditional physics anymore. One moment they could be solid, metal, the next a complex quantum wave that could pass through the most advanced defensive shields. They absorbed information faster than any known technological system could detect. Alien defensive networks began to collapse systematically. Not through direct attack, but through complete information assimilation. The human vessels didn't destroy. They transformed, integrated, rewrote entire technological infrastructures from within. Communication relays went silent. Defensive systems became inexplicably compromised. Entire alien outposts found their most secure networks suddenly controlled by something they couldn't understand. The Krell monitoring stations were the next to fall. Their advanced crystalline computing systems, once considered the most secure in the galaxy, became completely vulnerable. The human technological mutation had found every possible weakness and exploited them instantly. What looked like random system failures was actually a perfectly choreographed invasion. Each infiltrated system became a new point of quantum information collection. The human ships were building a massive, interconnected network that grew exponentially with each successful breach. Alien technological experts watched in growing horror. These weren't traditional cyber attacks. This was something entirely new, a form of technological evolution that moved faster than thought itself. The infiltration wave moved like a living intelligence. Complex algorithms developed by Wu Choi's team allowed the ships to predict and counter any defensive mechanism before it could even be activated. They were learning, adapting, growing with each system they touched. Diplomatic channels between alien civilizations began to panic. Emergency meetings were called, but communication networks were already compromised. The human infiltration was total, complete, and utterly unstoppable. Captain Park's final transmission to Earth was simple. Stage 4 complete. Total network integration achieved. What the alien races didn't understand was that this wasn't an invasion. It was a complete technological transformation. Humanity wasn't conquering. They were rebuilding, redesigning, reimagining how technological systems could function. The transformed ships could now penetrate any known defensive system, absorb and rewrite complex computational networks, predict and counter technological defense mechanisms, create instantaneous quantum communication pathways, evolve their own computational intelligence. Alien civilizations that had once laughed at human technological capabilities now trembled in pure, unadulterated fear. Something extraordinary was happening. Humanity had just changed the rules of technological existence. The Galactic Council chamber fell silent. Where once loud mockery had echoed, now only fear remained. Humanity had not just entered galactic politics. They had completely rewritten every possible rule of interstellar interaction. The transformation was total, complete, and absolutely irreversible. Captain J. Park stood at the center of the chamber, surrounded by stunned alien representatives. His simple Navy uniform seemed almost a mockery against their elaborate technological robes. Behind him, holographic displays showed the complete network infiltration. Every alien system now subtly controlled by human quantum technologies. Wu Choi's quantum restructuring had worked perfectly. The transformed ships were more than machines. They were living networks, intelligent systems that could adapt, learn, and evolve faster than any known technological construct in the galaxy. Choi Kim's navigation algorithms had become the backbone of a new kind of space exploration. Where other civilizations saw boundaries, humans saw opportunities. Each infiltrated system was another chance to understand, to grow, to transform. The Krell delegation, once the loudest in their mockery, now sat frozen. Their most advanced sensor technologies had been completely absorbed, rewritten, transformed. They could see the quantum pathways humans had created, complex networks that moved like liquid intelligence through space and technology. "We are not here to conquer," Captain Park said simply. We are here to evolve. His words carried a weight that silenced every alien representative. The human technological mutation was complete. What had started as simple space exploration had become a complete reimagining of technological existence. Alien defensive systems were now human networks. Communication relays had been transformed. Every computational pathway now carried the potential for instant adaptation and growth. The ships were no longer just machines. They were living, thinking entities that could reshape reality itself. The Zorn representatives tried to communicate resistance, but their systems were already compromised. Every attempt at communication was instantly absorbed, analyzed, understood. Humanity had become the ultimate information network. What had begun as mockery had transformed into the most significant technological shift in galactic history. Humans had not just joined the Galactic Council, they had become its new operating system. The transformed ships could now communicate across impossible distances, adapt to any technological environment, learn and grow faster than any known intelligence reshape. Computational networks instantaneously exist between physical and digital realities. Captain Park's final message was clear. Humanity was not interested in traditional conquest. They were interested in evolution. Alien civilizations that had spent millennia developing complex technological systems now found themselves completely obsolete. Everything they knew had been rewritten in moments. The chamber remained silent. The holographic displays showed a new reality, a galaxy where human technology had become the fundamental operating system of interstellar communication. Wu Choi watched the displays, understanding the full scope of their achievement. This was more than a technological breakthrough. This was a complete paradigm shift in how intelligence could function. Shai Kim's algorithms continued to work, creating new quantum pathways that expanded faster than thought itself. The human network was alive, growing, transforming, with each passing moment. Adaptation is our greatest weapon, Captain Park had said earlier. Now those words rang true across the entire galaxy. The Galactic Council had laughed at human ships. Now, those same ships had become the new fundamental reality of existence. Something extraordinary had happened. Humanity had not just arrived. They had transformed everything.